Me.
Hey everyone, well, I'm here. We're here. I'm sorry. What's up, everyone? I didn't put the go live button and we went on a Reggie's current rant. I was completely distracted. What's up, Howard J? We live. What's up? What's up? Anyway, Cassian, what's going on? This whole thing about our firearms assets or liabilities.
Mm, I remember what I said. I'm gonna have to rethink what I
Rethink what you
said.
said. She was spitting it out anyway. It was too much anyway, and I was going on too much anyway. So what's up, Howard
Um,
J?
well, is he still on? You can see.
Hey Shanna, how
Hey,
you doing?
Shanna. As usual, somebody forgot to press the go live button.
Yeah, because somebody's doing like 1,000 different things.
I always do 1,000 different things. That's what mommies do, and business people, and busy people.
Yeah, that's what
Um.
that's.
Anyway, we'll not get into that here. Okay, so let's get into what we were talking when we thought we were live, which was a lot of stuff. So let's go back. Okay, so we wanted to look at firearms. Are they? Hey, Koi.
Hey
And
Corey.
Shanna. Okay. So what we wanted to look and hey Howard, we were saying hi to you, Howard, when we thought we were live and we weren't. So hey Howard. Hi Jason. So all right,
Hello,
so the topic says
hello.
firearms, liabilities or assets. You can't be taking a call when we're live, Armel. Who you call?
It ain't me.
Well, tell them to hang up. Yeah. So we Armel went on to talk about why he wanted to discuss
It's a
firearms.
rain.
Are they assets or liabilities, right? So one of the things he mentioned was that about guns going into trust and you should insure your weapon, that kind of thing, and that's something that he could elaborate on. What I actually wish I'd actually completed my video, but I didn't finish it because I had a lot going on this week. Um, but I just want to look at the premise of firearms in terms of are they real property and how do you treat it as real property if you were buying it, right? So the whole idea is firearms are um, they're personal property, and because of that, they're an asset. As with anything that is a personal property or asset, it could become a liability, of course, if it's used incorrectly. Um, and then I also want to look at in terms of firearms. If you're going to buy a firearm, I know there's been such a surge of people who are now wanting to become gun owners, and that surge may have somebody thinking that, hey, with this a surge, maybe it's a good idea for me to run and go buy a gun, right? But as with any personal property or any kind of investment that you're buying, you have to make sure that you do your proper research and make sure that you buy correctly. You can't buy high, of course. You have to buy low.
Let me get you some light because
You
it's too
shouldn't
dark.
amass too much because you should. If you're amass, you should know when you should sell.
Leverage.
As with any, if you're buying stocks, you know when you should sell, when you should buy.
What is leverage?
Yeah. What leverage were you talking about?
Leverage it. You can't just buy
Yeah,
like
yeah. So
stupid.
you have to buy sensibly, right? So it's and also I wanted to look at firearms in terms of what the average cost of what different types of firearms are, as well as which handguns could potentially
Or handguns
or
or firearms
handgun
in
or
general.
firearms in general could potentially have value or hold value over time. And in terms of how do you determine which ones could potentially have value, right? It's like becoming is either trying to become quite schooled, where you become somewhat of an expert at it, or of course consult with someone who is an expert and could guide you accordingly. Not just, I mean, unless you're just going to buy firearms all for fun, right? But one of the things Armel convinced me when he started buying guns was that he knows I think in dollars and cents. Um, is anything. I see everything in dollars and cents. That's just how my brain works. And that's coming from my mother. Everything is dollars and cents. Um, that he mentioned to me that it could be an investment and that it could be worth more if he buys it at a certain price, is expected to appreciate. And of course, that got me thinking, yeah, appreciate more money. So that's what he kind of got me. So when he started buying more guns, because I'm like, you only got one gun, why I need two, why I need three, why I need four, why I need five. So it was always, let me go get more. I'm like, why do you need more? But he pointed out that, okay, if I buy something at a certain value, then a couple months later, hey, this is not worth that. I'm like, okay, fine. So maybe you do know what you're saying and you're buying sensibly. Yes, potentially could be a value, something to leave
You gonna leave some
for
space for me?
kids. You've been walking up and down.
I'm not
So I've
walking
been
up and
filling
down trying to get
space.
the light because I can't get my
I
space
don't know
right because
how you
it's not designed to be like multiple people here because
well,
it's not enough
here's the
lighting
thing.
here.
I'm watching Zeta, so you can go in the basement now. How's that?
You can't get the computer going, Cassie.
I almost did. You were the one that
Well,
did
go
it.
ahead and get that going. Anyway, on the other side, right? On the other side of it, right? On the other side of that, right? Someone told me something is like about the whole gun control spew and the whole tag stamp thing and the whole gun registration act and all of this crap, right? And I know there's mostly conspiracy theories and people throwing the craziest thing out there coming to get your guns. But in fact, when I analytically look at it, it's more of a cash grab than a gun grab. It's people purchase firearms. These companies produce firearms by the millions and millions and millions. And every firearm company doesn't get a government military contract, but they're still pumping out these firearms. Think of a Caltech or think of High Point or whatever. Name the company. They don't have these big giant government contracts. So in a while, they got to print up these guns like paper coming out of a copy machine. In turn, they sell their guns, right? Then they have people who are gun enthusiasts like myself, who collect the guns. Now, if you have these unique guns, like everybody probably has an AR-15, but everybody doesn't have an AR-15 that's transferable and fully automatic and all of that. So if the government just instantly say, okay, everybody can have, you don't need a tax stamp to have these fully automatic weapons, all these curators with all of these rich ass guns, their guns don't have any value no more because now it's out to the populace. So the less guns is in the market are being sold, the more valuable the guns have. So think of all the firearms that were out during the pre-ban, on the assault weapons ban in the 90s up to 2005, I think it was. All of those guns have super duper value. And I know I got rid of a bunch of them back in those days, but those guns have so much value now, and you can't even purchase them. Like a gun that was $500 in 1990, $500. That same gun is probably about 7 to 8 and sometimes $15,000 if I'm thinking about Uzi.
You need to acknowledge people that come in.
What's up, Jova? Well, you sitting right there. I'm
Because
talking.
I'm trying to not be rude and interrupt.
So just go ahead. Why are you doing that? Daggone.
Hello, Joe, back you. Okay.
Yeah, I'm talking. So all you have to do is, that's why it's better to be on the other thing.
All right, we'll do that next.
She like going like this. She like going like this.
Because something you're talking.
That's what she like sitting next to me.
Sometimes you're talking.
That's why she like sitting next to me. She like, no, you don't bring me in.
I have to bring you in because sometimes you're talking.
You see this shit? She trying to kick me off my own channel. That's why she want to sit next to me, so I can't just remove her from the daggone thing or mute her ass. Okay, anyway, anyway, she made me forget what I was talking about.
You were talking about assault. I mean, about the value of guns that were
that increased, like some very cheap firearms that's increased. The way that work is the rule of supply and demand. So the more people have, the less value. The more people have guns, the less value the guns have. You know what I mean? But the less people have gun, the less people able to have that specific firearm, the more valuable that firearm becomes. You know,
it's the basic law of supply and demand.
It's the basic law of supply and demand, and the government and the people who pay the government officials who have these vast gun collections, and they lobby. They might be liberal or conservative. They may be liberal or conservative.
I actually like Jason to talk more about this.
Jason, you want to come in and talk about it? Let me drop the daggone link. Let me drop the link. Anybody can come in and talk about this. if I could remember how to do this, copy and
Paste it in the chat.
paste. I don't know how to do this damn thing. Paste.
There you
Send.
go.
So
you
yeah,
just click
anybody
on
could come in and click on and feel free to join this conversation because and then another thing I was looking at, not every Cassian probably tell you about it in her research about every gun not having value. You want
Well,
to talk
it's
about
not.
that?
It wasn't just about every. The whole idea was, of course, that you mentioned that if a certain gun has certain kind of pattern or design is valued, then of course it's going to appreciate, and if it's not valued, then of course it's going to depreciate um or just not appreciate at all, right? Or just even just stay stagnant. So the whole idea is that how do you know or determine which ones will? I actually do somehow the laptop have a list of firearms or handguns that have held value over time, or they tend to hold value. Um, if I had my laptop, I could talk into that. And you know what? I'm actually gonna, even though I missed my video, I will still post just a quick snapshot of what we're thinking. And I do like to make sure that my videos are also informative as well. So
Okay,
you can
it's
always look
smoky
into
choky
that.
top. Try to get into your computer. I'm gonna go into the
It's
basement.
actually right here.
I'm taking my. We're gonna switch shop. I'm going to the lab. Yeah.
What? You wanna come on, pull your pants up? Oh, you got beer. I don't think you can be drinking on. Can you be drinking?
We're live.
You can't do that.
You can. I do it all the time. Don't put that. They ain't giving me no money. We not advertising these people in my live because
So
they not paying me no money.
We
So
have
when they pay me
visitors.
some money,
We have visitors. We have
All right,
my stepson
yeah, come on, leave me alone.
and his girlfriend.
Is she not coming on? All right, take care.
No one, no one. Is this cold?
Yeah, he got it out of 7-Eleven.
Oh,
She ready to hit the road?
I
You
could.
hit the club tonight.
Which
Oh,
club?
go to
Where?
the club in Ashburn.
Oh, no! You don't even go that far. Let's go to Ashburn.
No, she going to DC.
Already.
They going to DC.
Okay.
Okay. Anyway,
You need to
drive
plug in.
careful.
See, your phone thing's about to die.
What?
Right
I need
there.
to plug in. So let me plug in. Cassian, you plug in right there.
Mine is about to die. Too.
Plug it in. The extension cord is right there. All right?
Are you going downstairs?
Yes. Yeah. We can't be in the same room because she tries to silence me. And I'm not gonna get kicked out of my own live. That's out of the question. So I gotta go to the back cave. I gotta get myself set up in the back cave because I refuse to get kicked out of my own live. That's a no-no. And that's why she likes sitting next to me. So I'm not gonna get kicked out of my own live. But yeah, feel free to join in. Jason, I'll give you a few minutes. I see that. Jova, come in and tell me about it because I know you like almost like an encyclopedia Brown, or a man of many facets. You know, yeah, I'm just trying to get comfortable, get in my zone. But yeah, the value of the yeah, I'm gonna bring her on. There she go. How you feeling?
Hello.
Lower your microphone volume. Seems like you got an echo or something.
Yeah, it was on high.
Yeah, lower your microphone volume, and you should be good. It's Jova. I mean, come on, Jova. What up? What up? What up, Jova?
Hey, what's up? What's up? Can you see me?
No, I can't see you. Introduce yourself. It's
Hey,
like you in the dark.
hey, what's up? Name's Joe VIQ. Just now, hey, right now I'm driving, so might not
Don't worry about that. Just talk your shit.
might be in and out. I can't get my damn camera to work. Hey, so what you're saying about like some firearms retaining value and everything else, you have to look at the context in which people place value on stuff. It's only as valuable as what you're willing to pay for it. That's it. Now, certain firearms, they're more valuable due to their rarity, the historical context, and if it was used in some historical event. And some people have an affinity towards certain firearms. A lot of people like 1911 A1s, right?
Mm-hmm.
Some people have affinity towards uh, your Knights and your H&Ks.
Mm-hmm.
So just by that popularity and the scarcity of them, it's going to drive up the value of them. Take Knights, right? It's hard to get a complete Knights.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to drive up the price when you do see one in the wild. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of firearms that has a long history with the military, they tend to be somewhat expensive also. They'll retain their value. And also, again, limited production firearms will, you know, maintain their value, and that also increase in value over time. Um, since we hit that the assault weapons bill back in '94, and then also the 922 Act and everything else, certain weapons that we can no longer get goes up in value. Think about your H&Ks, right? Those, H&K 91, H&K 51, stuff like that. The conversions, your pre 86 automatic weapons.
And that's
Those,
what I'm gonna say about that too, because we grow up. And I could probably still somewhere in Brooklyn dig up some Uzis or, some of those super pre bands somewhere. And but the thing about it is, I go into a gun show. Those things are like thousands of dollars, and I know for sure that the price of them were only like $500 back then,
yeah.
or less.
So back in let's see, if my memory
The
serves me
80s.
correctly, back in 84, 85, Ingram and one of the guys brought Ingram was going out of business. They made the Mac 10s, the Mac 11s, right?
Yep.
And it was going out of business. Like one guy supposedly brought like 3 pallet loads, brought the rest of their stock, and they were all fully automatic pre 86 models, right? And he brought them for like $5,000 a pallet. There's probably 100, 200 weapons on the pallet. Do the math. Right now, Ingram Mac 10, Mac 11, pre 86, in mint condition, even in bad condition, it's probably going for anywhere from 6 on up.
Yeah.
So you do the math. Sometimes the government helps us out in the evaluation of the firearms because they'll say, hey, H&K PSG1 is no longer able to be imported. It doesn't have a sport in use. And therefore, that gun just doubled in price overnight just by a stroke of a pen. If you look at the Hanau 223, the gun that everyone says should have got the Bundeswehr contract with the Germans, beat out the H&K 416.
Yeah,
You
they
can't
getting
find
sued.
those in the wild. You can't
They
find
getting
those in the
sued.
wild here in the States.
Yeah, they're getting
You know?
sued too.
Yeah. Because H&K is suing them because they're saying that they copyright infringement for their God, for their gas system.
But the gas system I heard was from the G36 though.
Yeah. So now, if you go back to your historical guns, you look at your German Lugers, right? Look at your Singer 1911 A1. Like Singer made like 4 or 5 of them, or whatever it was, and it was made so great that the government contracted Singer to go around and teach everyone else how to make them. So Singer 1911 A1s like 200K, more than that probably. Um, Colt made one Luger for the competition for the Germany. They made it in 45 ACP. That's like a one of gun, probably worth millions.
Uh-huh.
So again, the historical context, the rarity of it, and the company that made it gives that value.
I got I
Certain
got a
guns,
question, Jova. I got a question that anybody else in the live, right? Some people who have, say, that German Luger that you were just talking about, right? That's like a one of one. Somebody got it in their collection, right?
yeah,
or say one of those Ingrams, and somebody got it, and some rich guy got it in his collection somewhere, and then some companies like, okay, this patent is up, and they're going to stamp a whole bunch of Ingrams, and they're going to make them fully automatic. Don't that make the value of his original one go down?
No, because remember, that's a remake. That's a knockoff. That's not the original. So think about this right here, right? The Browning high power, the P35, right? So Browning came back out with a new high power and everything else. They modernized it. That only makes everyone want the original more sometimes. They start looking at it and say, hey, you know what? I want to get an original Browning high power. And that price just goes up, right? It's like getting an open bolt Uzi A model, right? Or open bolt Mag 10 semi-auto, right? Those are more valuable because allegedly they're easier to convert to fully auto, but this ain't about that, right? So certain features make guns more worth more, right? The difference between the Uzi A and the Uzi B, right? It's worth more. Or the difference between a Uzi that's like all Israeli parts versus some that got the that 922 compliant. Take your AKM 47s, right? Just by the fact of having matching serial numbers, that drives up the value.
But look at the value of those washers. Like 3 years ago, those washers. I'm just talking about a cheap gun that's crazy expensive now as an investment. Like as an asset. Look at those washers. They're like $200-$300 a couple of years back, and now they're touching a grand.
Yeah,
That's a ridiculous evaluation.
Well, that's just like 10 years ago, 15 years ago, you could go and buy a crate full of SKSs. You go get a whole crate for $900. Now, what's your average price on a decent SKS?
I don't even know, bro.
Right? So your market is going to drive that, right? Right now, you're looking at 600, 700. Your market's going to drive that, right? So market drives the price of firearms. And every time they talk about banning assault weapons. So remember Sandy Hook? Like after Sandy Hook, you couldn't go to the store and buy 22 long rifle. You couldn't buy scary black AR-15s, anything else. And then, like even recently, pre-pandemic, you can get a Smith & Wesson M&P 15, $400, $500, $600. How much are they going for now?
They cost about that now. I don't know, Jason. How much they cost? Jason, the king of Smith & Wesson. I shot a 10mm while I was out there hanging out with him last week. But yeah, I think an M&P still go for about $550, $600 right now.
I think they're up, man. I'm not sure. Hey, I'm a lose signal here because I'm kind of in the bad area.
Don't worry about it. I'll catch you another time, brother. Keep tuning in.
No, I'm gonna jump back in. I'm gonna do what I gotta do and jump back in. But just think about that, right? The availability and the scarcity and how it's marketed, because that's going to drive up your price. Now, some of these guns, like take your Glocks, right? The new hotness, the Glock 47. That's going to get artificially inflated because it's the new hotness. It was designed for border patrol, yada, 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 everything else. That's going to balance out and it's going to go down. Don't really see too much movement. Say again?
If I remember my research, Glocks is actually one of those that always actually maintain value over time.
But you think about it. I bought my first gun. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. The Glocks are maintaining value, but they really don't appreciate because there's so many Glocks in the market, and on the market, you have market saturation. Now, if you have one of the original Glocks, the P80s, that's going to hold its value. If you have one of like the first original Gen 1s or Gen 2s or Gen 2.5, that's going to increase in value because there's not a lot of those out there in the wild that's mint condition or pristine.
Shannon says
so that's no. So unless it's a true collector, unless it's a true collector or aficionado, I can get Glocks and aftermarket parts all along. So, and that's
I'm talking about
have to
OG
look at
parts.
your market. Say again.
I talk about OG parts because I remember my first firearm when I turned 21. When I was just back to the States, it was a Glock 19. I had put it on layaway, right, waiting for my 21st birthday to pull it out, right. Mind you, I'm almost 50 this year. This is how long ago it was. So I don't even think Glock had generations or whatever. But I paid the same much that a Glock costs today, $650 back then. So it
Yeah.
still has
Yeah.
the exact same. It still has the exact same sticker price back, and that was what.
But Armel, that actually suggests to me that the price depreciated because if you really think of inflation, why isn't the price more? That to me
Well,
means that it actually didn't hold the value. It's
It
actually
still has
less.
the same sticker price as it had.
Yeah,
Even
but
though,
$700 30 years ago is it's not the same $700 now. That's like a huge difference in value. Seven
yeah,
hundred
you have to
dollars
adjust for inflation.
exactly. So they're just for inflation, then
they adjusted for inflation by building them shits in the USA because mine was made in Austria.
so shouldn't
Had a
that
In
separate
same?
tax.
Austria.
But you're saying that same Austrian gun that you bought 30 years ago is still worth $700 now
They
versus
don't have Austrian ones made in Austria here no more.
but then that would mean it would have a
I
higher
think they make them
value
in
than armor.
Georgia
It
now,
wouldn't be
if I'm not mistaken.
$700.
I think they make them in Georgia now, if I'm not mistaken.
But wouldn't that make it a higher value
Yes,
if it's
the Glock factories in Smyrna.
huh?
The Glock is in Smyrna, Georgia, or something. They don't make them in Austria no more. If you get an
Then that would
Austrian
mean it
Glock,
would have a higher value just
Austrian
by
Glock
the
has
same thing.
a Gen 5 that's Austrian has a higher value than that.
Really?
Yeah. But I don't think they're allowed to import them like that no more.
Okay.
I don't think they're allowed to
So,
import them.
so also remember, right? If you could get a Glock 380 prior to them making them legal here in the U.S. because of the 922 thing, they didn't have any sporting value. That was at a premium, right? So your secondary is also going to dictate the cost evaluation. So take a look at California, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you sell an H&K, I can go get an H&K VP9, say $670 here where I'm at.
Mm-hmm.
I can take that same H&K VP9 to California. It could be used with 1,000 rounds through it. I can sell it for $1,300, $1,400 simply because it is not on the California roster. So that makes it a platypus, very rare, never seen in the wild. I can charge what I want for it. So your market location has a lot to do with it. That makes any sense.
I tried. This is something, right? So I purchased like the first firearm practice. It was a Tavor. It was mid-trend. It was mid. It was actually the beginning of the pandemic, right? The purchase price was like $1,500.
Yeah.
Right. Mind you, that was 2020, something like April or May 2020, whenever the George Floyd stuff was going down, right?
Uh-huh.
That same it's over two bands now. I looked at that as a good damn investment, and now they're about to probably discontinue them.
Yeah, well, they're going to discontinue the import of them probably.
Yeah.
So also think about
I think
this right
that was
here,
a good
right?
buy.
So your Sig Rattler, right? 2 years ago, 3 years ago, you could get them 1850,
Less than
1900,
that.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Now it's hard pressed. You'll be hard pressed to find one for under 25 or 26, and that's not if you know someone and everything else. That's just like the average Joe on the street price,
Right?
Because we all know people. There's always I got a guy and everything else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's crazy. You see my daughter, she's crying for attention. What's
Hey,
she doing?
you gotta give her some attention, brother. You gotta give her some attention.
What she's up to? What's she up to, Kat?
She has my phone watching YouTube.
So she on
Yeah.
YouTube. She not on a live?
Well, yeah. Thank you, Jason, for reminding. Please, do what's it? Thumbs up, like,
Yeah.
whatever
Yeah,
that you normally do.
do your thing. what happened was Cassian did a lot of research and she created a video,
I'm
a
not done.
pre-video for this, but
I'm
we
not
didn't get it
done.
at the time.
Hey,
We didn't.
Armel. Hey,
I'll release it later.
What's
Let me
up?
see
hey,
this.
What's
I'm
up,
gonna
Joe?
jump out and try and jump back in with my video camera on. All right.
All right, I got you. Take your time. Be easy.
All right.
Thank you.
Safe. Be safe, man. Yeah. So, but yeah, what from your research, right, Cass? What did you come up with? Just give us a
Um,
snapshot on the video that was never brought out.
I'd have to let me see. I mean, I have some information here.
Okay.
Uh, sorry, I have to close up some stuff. Am I still? You see,
You still here?
all these windows things confuse me. All right, 1 second. Just another window. It might be here. Okay. Keep going, Arma. Just give me a second to locate it.
Yeah. So,
Update.
so what happened was Cassian did a lot of research on this, and but what I had in mind wasn't exactly what she researched. And one of the things I had in mind, I was thinking about the
Hmm.
the Bruin law that just passed, and how when Bruin passed, it says that they can't regulate or put restrictions on anything, on any law that that has to do with firearms that didn't exist in 1796 or whenever the Constitution was ratified. And I was like, damn. So who can they restrict? Right? And the answer I came up with was pretty much everyone who didn't own property
That
or
is a
have,
scary thought, though, Armel.
huh?
That is a scary thought.
Scariest motherfucker. And
That is a very scary
I
thought.
hope that should encourage people to become property owners. You know what I mean? Even
Mhm.
if it's a 16th of an acre lot, you know, it has value because if they ever decide and you have a firearm, because the only people that were respected back then was landowners. And then on the other side, I'm not even going to dig. That's digging deep down into the rabbit hole. On the other side, I see with the NFA items, like we going through this little SBR thing, and we have to register our firearms. And as we register the firearms, put the firearms into a trust, and they have attorneys and everybody, and all of this trust thing, this trust thing, this trust thing. Like the only thing that goes into trust are assets. So regardless if you got some daggone PSA AR pistol, it's going into a trust. You know what I mean? So that makes it an asset for some reason, shape, or form. You know, the other thing that I'm looking at, right? A lot of states like New York are going through it with their two-way regulation thing and hanging out with pistols in their restricted areas, and they losing out the ass. But one thing they are winning on is to make it anybody who have firearms and carry firearms or a permit to carry get insurance mandatory. You know, if you want to carry, you got to have insurance. Why are you going to have
Hmm.
insurance unless it's a liability? You know what I mean? Or an asset. On the other side of it, I got people in Texas, the Uvalde shooting, the lawyers that's coming out of California who's representing the victims in this case, and it's sorry that their children and their families and everything, but they're out chasing everybody, the gun manufacturers, everybody here at Daniel Defense, uh, not just the Uvalde, the state of Texas, or the school, the municipality. They're going after the pawn shop who sold the gun. These are mom and pop, everyday operating business. They really didn't have anything to do with this person shooting person, but they have to insure against that. You know what I mean? So
But
it's an
Armel, isn't that how? Okay, I'm gonna throw it up. But isn't that what you do when you have a car? You have to insure it anyway, don't
but
you?
a car, right? A car and a firearm is two totally different things.
Both of them can create both a lot of damage and harm. So what do you mean
Right,
they're two different
right. But
things?
you have the right
You
to have
own
a
a car, you own
firearm.
a gun. Both
The
could create
difference.
damage, and
A,
both
ci-
could be
I'm telling you, Cassian, you have the
okay.
right to own a firearm. You have to have you should have to have a privilege to own a car. That's the difference. A car is not in the Constitution. Transportation is not in the Constitution. It's not a right like freedom of speech and freedom of religion. A car is a privilege. Driving is a privilege.
Yeah, but I know what I don't want to get into, because I know it become quite political, because I do believe that whatever was determined 300 years ago shouldn't be done to the letter, because times and things have changed. So I'm not necessarily fully on board with your explanation of that. And I mean, I'm saying that we do have a right to protect ourselves, yes. However, times and things have changed, and sometimes
What's
we do need
changed?
to have some kind of flexibility.
So I'm asking you this: what has changed? Seriously. So we got
Well,
telephones
I mean,
now,
even
but we don't
okay,
have.
okay. Why don't we have different philosophy about different things? You know what I
So
mean?
spit it out.
Wait a
Talk
second.
your
Let me
shit.
go. I'm trying to see if I could go back in, because I was searching this thing. I know how horrible I am with sometimes with trying
Talk your
to
shit.
because
Talk your shit.
okay, as you like to say, I'm a bleeding heart liberal. I know when people said that, when the idea of us having firearms and stuff, nobody imagined that we would actually have these weapons that could kill so many people in 30 seconds. That the gun that was imagined was the one that would take a while to load and that kind of thing, and the right that we all should have it. It's in terms of what the gun was 300 years ago, and the damage that it could cause is much different than it is right now, in terms of people owning things personally and what they could do with it. And this is all, and I know you said it's two different things. Yes, we have a right to bear arms, and I do believe that you should protect yourself, because if anybody come after my daughter, I would shoot them dead without thinking twice. I mean,
This
I
is
know
the
that
thing,
for a fact.
Cassian. Right?
But
What you're talking
I'm just,
about is technology. The technology
yes,
of the
but that's
firearm.
my point,
Listen,
though.
the
Because
technology of the firearm changed. Right?
yes,
The technology changed, right? But it's
yes.
still a fucking gun. I could kill 20 people with a fucking musket.
Can you kill?
Yes.
Okay, can
Yes.
you? Okay, I'm talking being able to load. We're
That
talking
ass,
about
yes.
fucking gun.
Do you
You're
know,
saying
motherfucker,
load
they
it.
wiped
Seriously,
out
God.
an entire fucking civilization of Native Americans with fucking muskets? Do
They
you
didn't have
realize they
guns
did
here.
that?
They didn't have any
They
guns
killed
in
more
to
people with
defend
fucking
themselves.
muskets in America
They didn't
than
have guns in terms of to defend themselves.
why they did.
But the technology of gun
They
300
did
years
have.
ago is different, or the firearm is
It
different from it
doesn't
is
make a
right
difference.
now,
It all
Armand.
has to do with
It's much
skill and
more
training.
different. Someone could go in, and I mean, there's something that still bring me chills and worries me, is that some asshole is gonna probably could go into somewhere with kids and go kill a bunch of kids with a
They did that
firearm. I
already.
mean, that is a reality that's happening every day, and as a parent, that scares the shit out of me. Okay,
Yeah,
so
they did
that's
that.
still
They went there with fire, right?
insane, huh?
Listen, let me tell you what happened. Let me tell you what happened less than 100 years ago, right? These people in Mississippi went to a children's school, right? Whole bunch of kids in school without machine guns and burned the fucking school down. And that was without a firearm. They had the firearms outside saying, if you come outside, we're going to shoot you. And they didn't have rapid fire firearms and machine guns. They set the school on fire, killing the kids. Nothing, the technology changed, right? But the people didn't.
Okay, but then
These
let's
crazy
come back.
killers,
No, but
these
what we
people
were
who
talking
are
about,
have so
though,
much hate
what
and
we were
resentment,
talking about,
they're
though,
going
was
to exist regardless of what
the
you have.
initial premise was the idea of ensuring you having a property and you making sure that it's insured. So if it actually causes any damage that makes it a liability, then you're able to properly compensate anybody that you have harmed. That was the initial premise of this. So if they were to burn down a building and kill all those people, then they could always be sued, because a fire happened, people could be sued and people could be paid. Again, it comes down to the
Okay.
whole idea of insuring your asset that could become a liability because it could hurt someone else. That was the initial premise of the argument. And you were saying
Okay.
that firearm and cars are different because you have a right to a firearm. Okay, exercise your right, but also insure this shit in case it hurts someone. What? What else can you say now?
This is what I got to say, right?
You can just carry more guns.
Who's liable? Whose liability is it?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so he's
Who's
right. No
liable
law
for
will
it?
ever stop even
Who's
someone's
liable?
heart.
Hold up. We're gonna use the Uvalde. We're gonna use the Uvalde shooting. We're gonna use the Uvalde with the kids, right? Who's liable for that? Who gets sued for
A
that?
lot of people. Those cops who were
I'm saying
there
who?
doing nothing while the kids were being killed.
Okay, they
The
fine. We
asshole
got
who
them.
went
They
in
good.
and shot those kids.
What about
The
the
gun
guy
that
who
was
sold? What about the
like
guy
I
who
said,
sold the gun?
a lot of liability all around.
What did the guy who sold the gun have to do with it?
But okay, so again, it's the idea of the car, right? The guy who sold the car isn't liable, right? So the
Is he?
dealership who sold the car, would he be liable if someone decides to go out and run over a bunch of people? No. Okay.
But they're
It
getting
would be the
sued.
person
They're
behind the
getting
wheel.
sued.
The person
What
with
about the company that make the car? What about the
Okay.
company that makes the car?
Depends on because these Tesla cars have been messing up. So maybe we could sue Tesla for their for their incompetence.
You're a fool for buying that shit, but that's our Mel
Well,
opinion.
I don't buy Tesla, so
uh-huh.
wait a second.
Who's
funny? Hmm?
Whose responsibility is it? Because they're
Well,
suing the gun company. They're suing the company that made the gun. They're suing the pawn shop, mom and pop pawn shop that own the gun. They're suing the police department, state police, the school, everybody, all of them. But they're suing people. I'm thinking about the mom and pop pawn shop where the kid bought the gun from legally.
Mm-hmm.
They sue everybody. They need to sue. They sue the gun company because they said the gun company's advertising through video games, but they ain't sue EA Sports, the damn video game company.
Remember, I asked you a question about 2 weeks ago, I think.
No, I don't.
I remember I asked you a question. What do you remember the question I asked you 2 weeks ago?
I don't remember. You asked me a lot of questions.
Okay, that's true. I said to you, okay, if you, let's say it's a perfect world, right?
Ain't a such thing.
And again, it's a premise, right? It's a scenario. Let's say it's a perfect world, and if everybody gave up their guns in America and that we could actually stop mass shooting, would you give your gun up?
No.
What did you tell me? No. Right? No. Right. So owning the gun matters more than anything else.
Fuck your feelings.
But my feelings.
No, just general public feelings. You know what I mean? People feel a certain type of way, and I can't help or control how somebody else feels. You know what I mean? I feel for them. I have empathy for them. You know what I mean? But I don't feel like I should have to give up so you can feel better. For not you in particular, Cass, but for somebody, for the general public to feel better or feel safety or feel like they're safe when they're really not. Because the moment somebody feel like beating them on the fucking head, they're going to beat them on the fucking head. You see what I'm saying? But I have to give up what makes me feel secure just so you can feel fucking safe. What makes your safety more greater than mine? What makes your feeling of being unsafe your feeling of feeling safe greater than my feeling of feeling safe? You see what I'm saying?
But remember again, the premise was that in a perfect world, if you would give up your gun, and I'm not saying that the world is perfect. The question was, would you give it up if we all gave it up, just a way of stopping it?
Because the aliens might come. Fuck that. I ain't giving it up.
Listen, aliens pass. I mean, the
in a perfect world, the aliens will be here soon.
No, in a perfect world, the aliens already saw how dumb we are and kept it moving.
Over here. We over here having domestic disputes. Joe,
love it.
Oh, he's back.
Yeah,
you guys have very different views about a lot of things.
Yeah. So, and just to go back to what Armel was saying, there's a law that the government came about, like suing manufacturers and everything else, unless their product has a known default or recall or something like that. And that's why, like, the gun manufacturers couldn't get sued. They're trying to change that, and they're bringing these cases. So what they're going to do, even though they can't sue them, they still have to answer these cases and spend all this money on their legal defense. So they're trying to bankrupt the gun manufacturers that way, just by tying them up in frivolous lawsuits. So it's sort of like malpractice. That's like the best way I can kind of tie the two together. But again, like Armel was saying, right? Um, if there's a drunk driver, right? I go out, I get tore up from the floor up, wrap my car around a tree, kill 18 people, and walk away unharmed. They're going to go after me. They're not going to go after the alcohol manufacturer for saying, "Hey, if you drink this, you can do this." They're not going to go after
7-Eleven that sold you to drink.
Yeah, they're going to have to go, and maybe the establishment that sold me the drink, right? But if I get tore up in my house, let's just say I'm at my house, I get tore up, I jump in my vehicle and go do that. They're not going to go after all those individuals. They're just going to go after me. But firearms is such a hot button issue. They can do that. You got Moms Against Violence, Stop the Violence. You got this, you got that. You got all those. Say again?
I mean, you can understand because it really look like we have a pandemic of every day you see something on the news.
Really,
about
Cassia?
some
That's the communication. Because believe it or not, this is the
Armel.
safest America ever been.
Armel, let it finish because I got a retort for that.
No, I'm just okay. I know social media actually makes everything immediate and present, right?
Mhm.
That's the fact. But I know that as a mom or as a parent, it's quite scary to imagine that your child could be in a school somewhere and then someone crazy comes and shoots and kill your child.
And we that's what we got these things here for.
Hey, I have those same concerns. I have 2 teenage daughters and I have a son that's 11 years old. I have those same concerns. Every time they leave the house, every time I don't see them, that's my same concern. However, this is where I would argue with you on that, or this is where I would retort to you on that. The incidents of gun violence, let's take mass shootings, right? With the scary AR-15, that is one of the lowest incidences of crimes that's actually happening. You have more people dying from obesity, high cholesterol, overweight, but that's not scary. That's not an issue because big pharma is getting paid off of that, right? They're not making survivors. They're making customers. You got more people being killed in car accidents. If you look at the FBI statistics for homicides, right, there's more people killed by blunt force trauma, i.e., getting hit with a bat, getting pummeled by hands and feet, than there are from assault weapons. The majority of the firearms that's used in mass shootings and everything else are handguns. The handguns aren't scary. So what is their agenda? What is my agenda for saying we need to ban AR-15s? My agenda is once I ban those, it's just a little hop, skip, and a jump to banning rifles, a hop, skip, and a jump to banning all firearms as they said they want to do it. And once you do that, now my
I honestly don't think anyone really wants to, because again, as a bleeding-heart liberal, I mean, no one really thinks that you should ban firearms entirely and no one should have guns and that kind of thing, right?
It's just only certain people, right?
No.
Biden actually said no one should have guns. They actually said it.
Except for the police, especially
all your guns. Except for the police and the people that's guarding the politicians. They said no one should have guns, that we should depend upon the government for our safety. And as soon as you do that, we can go back historical text. How far you want to go back? 50 years?
Shit, we could go back last week.
We want to go back 100 years? Because remember
last week when that man got decapitated.
Yeah, well, here's one for you right here. Up until the Civil Rights Act of 64, 68, you, me, and Armel couldn't vote. We could vote on paper, but it wasn't guaranteed because they might run us off. And what's the great equalizer in that? Being able to defend yourself, like Armel brought up about the kids in was it Mississippi that they burnt the church and let them die in there. So if I know you can't protect yourself, you become prey, a predator. And there's no, and like Jason said, I can't legislate what's in someone's heart, right? There's no amount of legislation that's going to make someone give you an equal right to exercise your rights, freedom of movement, live where you want to live, everything else. Because when people start, and I hate to say this, when people start burning crosses on your lawn, you go out there with a double barrel shotgun and everything else, they start getting
call the
fired.
police.
Right? When you have a means to defend yourself, you can defend yourself. You're not waiting on the police to respond. Because remember, Supreme Court ruled in the police favor. Says the police jobs, they're not responsible to protect you. So when they get there, they get there.
I know they get there to investigate.
Yeah. And it's sad and it's unfortunate. This is the world that we live in. Because I'm an apex predator. I'm going to see you walking down the street. You're getting in the vehicle, a nice vehicle. You're better off than I got. I'm going to prey on you. What's going to give you a fighting chance or level that playing field against me? Your ability to protect yourself and the tools you use or you choose to protect yourself. If you got a knife, that's great. You got to get close to use a knife.
How you gonna protect yourself, Cassian? You are 130 pounds, Cassian. You're 5'2".
Armel, you know where I'm from, how I've lived. I've never ever been attacked.
How you gonna protect yourself? I know you're gonna back down and fight.
I have knocked down bigger assholes than me.
Hey,
nobody, you know that nobody scares me. I don't give a fuck how big you are.
I just started some shit.
One of us is going down and it's not going to be me. You know that. I've walked on New York City streets 3-4 o'clock in the morning, and big assholes have looked at me like they want to come at me, and I turned at them and said, "What?" Okay.
What if they didn't back down?
And this
what if they didn't back down?
Up to me and tried to you better give me something, and I cuss his motherfucking ass off.
Everybody is scared of your cussing.
And I don't care how big anybody
is scared about your cussing crazy ass.
I don't give a shit how big you are. One of us going down and it's not going to be me.
So you're going to use an act of violence.
Nobody scares me.
You're going to use an act of violence.
What?
You're going to use an act of violence.
I'm out. I've seen motherfuckers dead, okay?
So if you're going to use an act of violence, make sure your violence is efficient.
I'm just saying
most effective violence.
I don't get scared easy. I've been in scary situations, okay? I've seen a guy who came to open my mom's store, and then 5 minutes later, they said they shot his ass down the road, and I had to drive past that where they shot his ass 5 minutes later just to leave the area, okay? So I'm just saying, I don't get scared easy. And you know that. I don't care how big you are. Nobody's going down. If anybody, I don't care how big you are.
You want to be efficient.
I don't care how scary you are. I've been in scary situations and I've never been attacked because I confront them first. I turn around and I look at you and say, "What? I see you. You're not coming at me. I see you." And then I turn around and walk at the same pace I was walking before. And they always,
everybody in the chat, you see what I got to go through? Everybody in the chat, you see what I got to go through?
Because I'm a small person, okay? People think, okay, maybe she's crazy. Because there's no way somebody as small as she could be as brave as she is, okay?
Okay,
so I don't care how big you are.
How about this?
And you know that. You know that. I don't care. Anybody come.
Let her finish shooting her own horn, Jova.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, you know, anybody threaten my daughter, I'll shoot you dead without thinking twice. And I'll go to bed snoring in the night later on. Don't even think twice about it. That's just a fact. Okay, so I'm just saying.
Oh my God.
And I'm not going to use the P word because that takes a lot of pounding. But my point is, okay, I'm not, okay? So anyway, I'm trying to go back to
But what if it's someone other than you? Like, what if it's just your average housewife or your smaller frame guy that doesn't have the intestinal fortitude that you have? How are they going to equalize that playing field again?
Well, they should make sure that they know how to defend and protect themselves. And I do
believe
they should know how
to defend and everybody not a daggone
sometimes if you have a weapon and you're scared, some asshole could take it from you and
you don't need a weapon.
What you're doing.
No,
so having a weapon doesn't automatically mean that you're protecting yourself.
True, Cassian. That's absolutely
true. That. A lot of times people have weapons
that's
and
absolutely
true. That's
a different subject. That's absolutely true.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you wholeheartedly on that. I'm saying we're going to go on a couple of assumptions here. that the individual, the smallest stature individual has a firearm and they know how to use it, reasonably proficient. Reasonably. They're not John Wick, they're not Mr. and Mrs. Smith, but they know how to get a person up off them. So what I'm saying is that levels the playing field. Someone said once before, God made man, Sam Colt made man equal, right?
Okay.
Because the physicalities of it, they're going through this stuff right now in sports with female athletes and transgender men are
Yeah, I
blowing
don't
them out
do
the
that.
water.
I know. Okay, fine. You want to change your world, and that's your business. But there's some things that don't make sense, and I'm one of those who think that don't make no sense.
Yeah. I agree with you 100%.
I mean, you want to live your life and be you. I'm happy for you, but some things don't make any sense. And if they change the dynamics where it's not a fair competition anymore, then that don't make no sense.
And that's what I'm saying. Their arguments are just genetically and physiologically and physically, a man is stronger than a woman.
That is true.
Across the boards. So why would I tell a female you can't go out and live your life and pump your gas and live the freedoms of America because you're weaker than a man that might attack you? No, give that individual the opportunities and the tools to defend themselves against
But I keep
predators.
Okay. Physically, maybe a man might be stronger in some cases, right? But again, there are different ways that I guess you're saying someone could protect themselves that may physically be smaller, but if you know how to protect yourself, that could actually be an advantage, not a disadvantage.
Well,
So
and yes, and I got it. You got some females that's triple black belts down there, red belts and BJJ, but that's a controlled fight. If someone comes up on you in
karate, Cassian?
in those
Huh?
transitional spaces,
You know jujitsu?
if I know jujitsu, actually, you know what? I did taekwondo years ago. You know,
That's
you know that?
taekwondo, the way of the hand and the foot.
I did taekwondo years and years ago.
But you understand what I'm
But
saying?
anyway, I mean, if I get your share now, but if I'm fighting, I don't fight. I'll fight dirty. Everything I get, I'm stabbing. I mean, that's just it. So
Yeah, and I got that. And to stab someone, that reduces the proximity, right? And again, don't want to get stabbed. If you got a tool where you can increase that standoff distance and everything else, why not use that? Because someone posted a video of a young lady. She was going to the gas station, came out in those transitional spaces. She seen a guy off to her right. She was getting her vehicle. As she had her back turned to the individual, he jumped her, and they fought for it in the car, right? So two things about that. Someone's going to rob you. They're going to rob you right where you're at. If they're trying to abduct you, they're either going to hold you for ransom or kidnapping or sex trafficking. Luckily, she got away out through the other door, but she was in a fight, right? Now, if she would have had a firearm, she chose to use it, that fight would have been over a lot quicker for her. Again, I'm not advocating everyone should be out there slinging guns and everything else. It's an individual choice, and you have to be prepared for it. Because here's the deal right here. At the end of the day, my size and my stature, any female that's like below 170, I'm rolling up. I'm rolling up. Then that's just it, man.
Yo, I got mugged by some females before, man.
Oh, that's because you're a puny kid, Mel.
True story, right? Back in the days, they used to get when Lee's was out, right? They used to jump for Lee patches, the Lee jeans and shit.
Yeah, the leather patches.
The leather patches. They used to be snatching leather patches. So I'm walking down the street. I was down on Utica Avenue, man. Why a gang of daggone girls gonna come and talk about the Lee? He's like, Detective Lee, we trying to get you. Why they jump me to try to rip my Lee patches off my damn clothes, off my pants?
Because you were skinny and tiny back then?
Yeah, I was skinny and tiny. I'm skinny
And
and tiny.
also, so also think about this right here, right? Well, if there's multiple attackers, right? So let's say you can hold your own against one attacker, right? Now there's two, now there's three. You have to have a tool in your toolbox to level that playing field. That's all I'm saying. And as of now, right now, about the best thing we got is that firearm. I'm not advocating, a group of people walk towards you start blazing. No.
That's a different subject, right?
Yeah.
But let's get back to as it being an asset. I personally think like as an heirloom, it's something that like I got rid of guns before in my life. You know what I mean? This time I don't think I'm getting rid of anything, and I think I'm passing everything down. And I'm setting it up so they can't give my shit away because it was too hard to come by. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I look at it rather not as a monetary asset, but more of an heirloom and towards the future. So however this shit go bad in the future, however you might not be able to purchase, this shit is here. So if it goes down, it goes down, and my generations is ready to go. So I look at it as
Okay. Well, here, since you mentioned about might go down, let's. I'm gonna say something here.
Mhm.
Some of y'all do know that there have been recent pacts been made with other countries that put the dollar in question, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that being said, they're saying that it's not years or even months, but potentially weeks where the US dollar might not actually have as much value as now. And it's expected that this could mean the collapse of the US economy. So I mean, I'm not doing doom and gloom. I'm just saying that's what's out there right now in terms of what is potentially happening. The fact that the
So
US.
does your guns have value when dollars don't?
So the question is, your Gucci bag. Oh, that's cool.
Put yours
Your
up.
Gucci bag. Is that going to be less valuable than you actually having a gun if the shit hits the fan?
Well, so one of those things right there to answer that, it all depends upon what the market can bear and what it is. Because you can go out, you can go get those red bottom shoes, you can go get like all the Air Jordans and everything else. And those are cool if we're going to a fashion show. But now when it comes time to I gotta defend myself, I gotta do this because the world's going to shit, there's certain things that has more value. During the pandemic, right? Everyone's trying to find guns, no one could get guns. Everyone in California is buying all the guns. California had lines outside of gun stores wrapped around corners to buy guns because everyone got scared and got panicked. And the first thing they said is, oh, we got the pandemic. Everything's happening. We need this. And it was a move. It was like the domino effect, right? You couldn't go to the store and get toilet paper. You couldn't go get
There was a long line for toilet paper.
Yeah,
That
right.
was dumb,
Yeah.
though.
If you thought Black Friday was bad,
I've never participated in Black Friday.
because
I refuse
once
to.
started moving and it set all these things in motion, and you got the secondary, tertiary orders of effect, right? It's like hunker down in my house and do this, I need a gun. It's like, hey, can you get me a gun? What's
But
the
then that bears a question, though, if that is really what's happening in the world right now, and it's not even make believe scenario, it's the fact that couple pacts have been passed that put the dollar in question. Then does it make sense then to make sure that you have your firearm ready in case shit does hit the fan?
I would say so. So when you say shit hits the fan, remember shit hits the fan is different for everyone. For me, shit hits the fan is I don't get overtime this week and bills get out. For someone else, it's like, they lose their house or whatever. But one of those scenarios is when you start looking at it, Brazil, Russia, China, and I forgot the S, right? BRICS. They say, hey, we're no Saudi Arabia. We're no longer going to trade on the U.S. dollars.
Yes, dollar.
And one of the companies is now not trading oil in dollars, right?
Then
And everything else.
talking about using the one.
Yes, they're talking about using the yuan. A couple of nations are going off the dollar. So now that puts your ability to buy things and everything else in jeopardy because it's going to go up. You're no longer the most favorite trade. So the tangible assets you have become an investment, right? Because now, right, someone got into the game late. They can no longer get a gun. Let's take Jason's out where he's at, right? They're signing this assault weapons bill ban, right? So everyone that already has assault weapons, the valuation of those just went up by the virtue that you can no longer get them if you're in that state. So in that sense, it's an asset.
Because of course the value. That's just it. So the question is, if a situation like that happen, what items could still hold value if a situation like that happens, right? Of all the many positions that you have, of all the many personal property that you have, you have to really look at all of them and say, okay, which ones will really have value if the world becomes changed, if the dollar, it doesn't have any value anymore, if this happens, and what would really, some people say then the real estate market could tank. I own property, so I'm like, oh shit, that could not be a good thing. But then I mean, we also own guns, so guns be something that could actually appreciate in value because
What gives it value?
like, yeah, but I'm just saying that. But in terms, it's just a question of, it's just asking these questions of what we have, what could potentially hold value, and where do guns fall in all of that.
Oh, so remember this right here. Keep this in mind. Something is only worth what someone else is willing to pay for it.
That is true.
Right. So
something's only worth what you willing to use it for. Like a can opener is valuable as fuck. If you need to open a can,
yes, sir.
Armel, I know how to open a can with a knife.
A can
opener. You open a can with a knife, and you're like, "What's some Jamaican shit that?"
You know,
it's a third world can. So what if you don't have a knife?
Yeah.
Huh?
What if you don't have a knife?
Create one.
You know, so then it goes back to what would be in need and what do you have you can barter or trade with, right?
Yes.
So that sets the tone and everything else, because there's been times in the military, like you wanted something sweet and someone else got the good MREs that had the Lucky Charms in it, and it's like, hey, I'll pull your next duty shift for that MRE. I don't want that. I don't want the tuna mac. I want the fucking Tabasco sauce and the Lucky Charms.
Mm-hmm.
Like, say, Armel, well, what?
Huh?
So it's only worth what you're willing to give up for it, and so
yeah. Point, I mean, you're right. So it's what, so you're right. The value is basically what the next person wants to pay for it, right?
So what gives it value? What gives it value? Like, say, for instance, I'm looking at a diamond and a cubic zirconia, pretty much the same thing, right? But one is real and one is not. So I'm looking at that in the sense of a registration act.
Yeah.
So is a gun transferable? A gun that's registered, is that more valuable than one that's just floating in the wind, a ghost?
So it depends on what you're using it for. If, let's say, if I got pre-band Uzi, right? Fully auto pre-band Uzi. One's registered and one's not registered, right? Mm-hmm. If I'm out there doing dirt, the one that's not registered is more valuable to me. And I'm going to sit down there, go to the range, and put it up and post it. The one that's registered is more valuable to me. So it goes back to, what are you using it for? Because again, it's just like, pre-pandemic, right? Everyone's like, oh, do this, do that. And then that shit kind of changed. Everyone's just like, well, guns ain't that bad. We might need to get one just for that sense of security. And here's the cool thing about diamonds. You know what makes diamonds so valuable?
The people who are laboring to get it.
No,
the time they create.
Well, marketing, because diamonds aren't all that rare. So after De Beers did a great marketing campaign early 19th century or 20th century and everything else. If you look at Arkansas has like more diamonds. Arkansas has a lot of diamonds, but they're industrial grade, right? And they don't have big gemstone qualities. So diamonds aren't all that rare. It's just a marketing effect that made people want to get them. And that's, like, honestly. So De Beers, they get so many diamonds. They get so many diamonds every year that they put them in the vault and they release them slowly to the market to create artificial scarcity, right? So it's just like with land. I got 1,000 acres, but I only put 2 acres up for sale. Guess what's going to be real expensive? Those 2 damn acres, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to flood the market if you control the price. But that's another thing. But again, so like what gives those firearms their value is the type of firearm, the intended use, and what someone else wants to do. Because if I'm a hunter, right, I don't have any use for handguns, really. I'm not going to pay a whole bunch of money for a handgun.
Mm-hmm.
Pay a whole bunch of money for a rifle and a scope. And don't forget the
But
accessories.
that's what you need.
Yeah,
That really depends on what you really need that determine the value of what you're willing to pay for it. So something may have value to may not have
Yeah,
value
we
to
got
someone.
6 people on here.
Um,
Where the other
I
folks
mean,
at? Comment, y'all.
what happened?
Yo, my guns may not have value to anybody else. My guns may not have value to my guns may not have. I'm saying my guns may not have value to anyone else. They may not like my shit. They may not think it's the nicest or dopest shit. But guess what? They mine. You know what I mean? You don't have to like it. You don't have to shoot it. You don't have to touch it. You say what the fuck you want, but they're mine. They're valuable to me. You know what
So
I mean?
again, value is determined by, like you said, what you want to pay for it. Everybody determine what they think is valuable. Anyway, everyone, I got to go because I gotta go put my baby to bed.
Hold up. Everybody breaking up. Where everybody at in the chat? I'm
Huh?
still broadcasting.
We had, but Zadie's in the couch and she's about to. I know where she's at the point where she's about to start, so I gotta put her up to bed. But thank you all for coming. Arma, I don't know. Are you still gonna be continuing, right?
It's been an
Arma,
hour yet.
we really do need to put some sheetrock on those walls, you know.
How long has it been,
It's
Cass? How long has it
years.
been?
'Cause you keep on changing the design. You need to decide on what we. Then you're telling me I need to decide.
Right.
I'm gonna call my electrician and
Okay.
plumber and buy some sheetrock and just decide on the design.
It depends. What time is it? How much time are we on?
We've been there for an hour and 11 minutes. Yeah, but Zadie right now is in the family room, so I know she's chilling on the couch, but she's almost at that point.
Yeah, you decide because it takes me too long.
What?
All
She
right,
just
but
decided
yeah,
to
it's been
design
an
and just
hour.
run
We're
with
good.
it because
We're going to end the broadcast. I catch up with you, Javon. Thanks for coming.
thank you.
Yeah, we're
thank
good.
you very
It's
much
been
for
an
that
hour.
heated discussion and debate.
Oh, I wasn't heated.
Huh?
It's time to go.
No,
We got to do our parental duties. We got to do
I'm
our
heated.
parental stuff. So
All right,
get up with you guys, and thank you for coming. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much. Shannon, Jason, Coy was here. Jova Q. I don't know who else.
Thank
you all for coming.
Thanks. So you guys have a great one.
Thank you very much. We appreciate you.
Happy Easter.
It's Easter.
Fussing at me.
You know, with the Easter, we need to get some Easter bun and some and fry some fish. They fried fish like 2 days ago. Need to get some more fish because it's Sunday.
I'm ending the broadcast.
Yeah. Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Okay.